We are recording now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you this as soon as we're done, because
Yeah.
it's gonna be on your platform and like you can share it with me and all that. But
Say less. Say
this
less.
is just a all right. So yeah, what's going on?
Not much. Not much. Just chilling. Just chilling. Having a good day. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. So you're 2 hours away. So are you in Texas or something?
No, I'm actually in Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting.
it's only like 9:30 right now.
It's not there. Okay, okay. So isn't that the
Yeah.
same time frame as Texas?
Uh, I'm not sure. I think it's about maybe like an hour ahead. I think something like that. Yeah.
Uh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty dumb, but I'm a fan of you already.
Thank you.
So I
Thank you. Thank you.
mean, like, yeah, I like the way you talk and all that. The interview that you had, especially the one with that guy and all that.
Oh yeah, when we
That's
talk
one of
about
my
health,
favorite.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was one of my favorite ones too.
Facts, facts. So you're a chef though.
Yeah, yeah. I work at a few places. I cook at a few places. So right now I'm really just working at little places right now, little dive-in bars, trying to get into the food truck space. But I always been a chef. I always like to, create stuff out of nothing. And I started getting into like the holistic side when I was pushing like almost 300 pounds. So now I'm down to like 250 right now. So I'm trying to, but I did all that by like fasting and eating the right food. So that's kind of where I got into food. Like I really like to lose weight through food, and then starting to incorporate the gym into that is trying to get right.
Facts, facts. Because
For
I'm gonna
sure.
be honest, I'm into health too. I was a vegan for like 3 years and all that, and now I went into depression. Started eating mad bacon and pork chops and all that. So
Yeah.
basically, I'm trying to get back into holistic health and all that because I feel like my body is deteriorating. And for some
Mm.
reason, somebody said I had a fat ass yesterday. So now I have to really get back into
You're right. You're
working
like,
out
oh,
and
nah,
becoming
nah.
a vegan. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had too much bacon. I had too much bacon
Mm.
base. So I mean, so yeah, so like, are you a vegan now, or you just like
I
just
try like I'm kind of like trying to transition back into it. I went vegan for like 3 months, and I loved it. But I do practice it like a few times a week. So like 3 or 4 times out of the week, we don't eat meat in my household, and we don't eat bread and certain things like that. So we might do like a wrap. But other times, my biggest goal is trying to get away from red meat. That's my biggest goal right now, trying to get away from that red meat and trying to get away from that pork and that bacon. I really don't like pork chops, but I eat bacon a lot. So I'm trying to
yeah?
trying to get away from that. But yeah, that's my biggest goal right now, trying to get away from that red meat. Starting to incorporate some fish into my life, and just eat more, baked stuff, baked chicken instead of that fried chicken. So that everything is like a transition and it's a process. But I think all of it comes down to like, are you really like, do you really want it? Like, are you really trying to, make that change? But you know, you can have cheat days too. Like my man David said on the podcast, you can have cheat days and just be able to still like lose weight in a healthy way. But my biggest thing was trying to get into herbs as well. I'm trying to dive into that type of herbalistic healing, and really just fasting a little bit more is kind of where I'm trying to bring it all into one. But I know there's a science to it, so I'm trying to study that before I really get into it. And I'm trying to look for a
Mm.
mentor, but I don't know, just trying to find my way. But I'm trying to do it the right way. And you get a lot of scattered information on the internet, and everybody's like, try this, try this, try this. So it's like you got to find what works for you.
Facts, facts. But try this though. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
everybody. So like basically, like when I was fasting, when I became a vegan, like
Hmm.
I legit took something called hoodie. Hoodie is like a cacti. It's an herb, but it's
Mm.
like a cacti that actually suppresses your appetite. So when
For
I
real?
took it
Okay.
with I took it with sea moss and green tea and all that,
Mm.
I lost like 50 pounds or whatever in 1 month, and then went straight
Ooh.
into yeah. I was 235 pounds or
Okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
fat ass and all. And then I started like taking the hoodie and sea moss or whatever.
Yeah.
Within the end of that month, it was 183 or
That's what
something
I'm
like
talking
that.
about. Okay.
That was lit.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, if y'all gonna fast, make sure y'all take certain supplements that help you fast and all that, because these cravings are crazy and all that.
How long did you start fasting for? If you when you
Well,
did fast?
I'll tell you this, I didn't eat for like a week. One.
Okay.
So all I was taking was herbs and all that.
Okay.
And basically after that, I started like becoming vegan because once. Okay, so yeah, you're pretty familiar with food and holistic health and all that, but I know within like 2 or 3 weeks, your appetite pretty much resets. So
Right.
have you ever had have a craving for certain stuff and you wanted to eat it constantly?
Yeah.
But like there's times where you're very hungry, but you didn't have a taste for anything.
Right.
That's your taste buds resetting. So at that time
Mm.
when your taste buds is resetting, you can pretty much eat whatever you want, like whether it's kale or mushrooms or avocado. And basically, the first thing that your taste buds taste, the moment you are resetting, that's the thing
Right.
that they're gonna want within like the 2 or 3 week time span, basically.
Mm.
So for the whole time, whatever, I was just resetting my appetite with avocados and kale and all that. So that's what made me like lose weight a lot quicker too, because I actually
Right.
started craving this type of stuff instead of eating pork chops as soon as my appetite came about. But as soon as I hit
Yeah.
depression, I was like, "Fuck everything! I'm gonna eat this pork chop. I'm gonna eat this bacon. I don't need pork. I don't need pork chop at all." That's when I knew I
Yeah.
was depressed.
Right.
Because the moment I fell into depression, I was like, "Hey, yo, I'm gonna get this pork chop. I'm gonna get these Biscoff cookies. Make me a cheesecake, put some ice cream on top." So I just tore
Yeah.
everything up. My entire vegan
Right.
life was gone after that.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
man. So I got to get back into that vegan stuff too and all. I got vegan stuff in the refrigerator and everything,
Yeah.
but I got to get rid of the tacos first.
Right. No, for sure. I definitely it's like a process too. You gotta add stuff before you like subtract it too. That's one thing that I found was easier for me. Like just adding instead of, going to that burger spot, just add it, something at the house, cook something at the house, it's gonna be a little bit healthier, but you can start there too. And I think another thing, because I started with the fruit fasting. So I started, I think I went for like 10 days every time I went. And I really just like, I was just juicing. I was really just juicing, and that's all I would consume throughout the day. And I remember I lost like 15 pounds in that 10 days. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then I stopped fasting. So it's like, you always gotta reroute and spin that block, because then you're gonna be like, damn, you gonna look back and you're like, damn, I really just hopped on the scale and I really just gained like 10 pounds than I really thought.
Oh
And
wow.
and I know you talked about depression too. Like I think my biggest trigger was the stress. Like working so much and then still running a business, that like stress put me to like, damn, I don't have time to meal prep. So like when I do have my time, I'll probably go out and I'll probably just eat whatever I see first, right? So I didn't have no taste for nothing, but I knew I was like, shit, I really want some Taco Bell real quick. Like let's pull up to the
Facts.
Taco Bell, So I think a lot of it is like what works for you too, because that's another reason why I was like, man, I need to hire somebody to help me get my meal plans in order. Because I was like, I don't know how to do it, but then I was like, man, I work too much to be able to have time to like really see what I need to do. So I was like, man, let me just find somebody. Let me just find somebody to help me out. And I'm still in search. So if any of y'all know anybody, let me know. But yeah,
Oh,
I think it's big. I'm big on it now, especially moving into 2026. Already 2 months in, and it's just I'm like, it's time. If now ain't the time, it's not gonna be the time ever for real. So I'm like
facts.
ready. I'm locked in for real.
Facts. So I'll tell you this: how do we meal prep vegan stuff, or how do we meal prep? Like, cause I know when I try to meal prep certain stuff or whatever, my stuff was just already there, as in like
Yeah.
the fruits and the kale and all that. So like I never really cook. I can't cook anyway. So so I was wondering how like what do you meal prep if you do meal prep certain stuff?
I meal prep, like when I do meal prep, I try to meal prep for what I really want. But the thing about meal prep, and there's three things I'll tell you, right? The first thing is you got to know what your goal is. Like if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, like some people might want to gain muscle, some people might want to lose fat, right? So you got to understand your goal. Like if you're trying to really lose weight, if you're trying to completely switch your diet up, or even just add certain things in there, you got to know what you got to eat. So I would definitely say knowing your goal. So the second thing I would say is you got to have the supplies. Like you got to know what you want to cook. Like if you want to cook fish, you got to have the right stuff. Like when I first started meal prepping, I just was like, I'm just not going to meal prep. certain days because I didn't have the right frying pan, or I see the recipe and I didn't have the certain, like a blender or something like that, and that just already just put me 10 steps back. So you got to be dedicated to that too. So invest into it, like invest into like really getting your bowls with the things that you can put in the refrigerator, getting what is it, like a lunchbox too. Like you don't want to be outside and you're like, man, now I gotta go to Taco Bell, right? So always invest into like a lunchbox, a little cooler or something like that. And then the third thing is you gotta be able to let certain things go too. If you want to be able to lose weight, and this is one thing that I'm practicing every day. If you want to be able to lose weight, and you want to be able to start meal prepping, you got to be able to let certain things go. So you're not gonna be able to go get a second plate. You got to be able to like you said, suppress your appetite, right? And and it's all a mental thing. Like when you really think you're hungry, you're not really hungry. Like science has shown that when your stomach is growling, it's not really your stomach telling you that you want more food. It's your stomach clearing out those toxins in your body. It's also been shown that you're not supposed to be pooping 2 times a day. When I fasted at that last half of it, I was not pooping, right? Because all that is solid foods that I'm not really consuming anymore. Now during that first half, you're going to have to flush it out, right? Because all them toxins in your body, and that's where you come in with herbs and you bring in certain bitters that actually kill the parasites before you go in and flush out your system. But yeah, it's all there's a really a science to this. But when you talk about meal prep, the 3 things you need to do is invest into it. You got to let certain things go. Be able to say, hey, if I made three burritos for 3 meals in a day, right? I got to be able to commit to that. I can't just be like, now I'm finna go to 7-Eleven real quick, and then you just gotta want it. You gotta want it. So I think meal prep is really like it's really a habit. It's not really nothing like first, like I said, you got to understand what you want to eat, but it's really a habit that you really got to start putting into your daily thing. And if you don't have time for it, you got to make time for it, because if it's something that you got to do, you just got to do it. And it's you don't wake up in the morning and be like, I'm not gonna brush my teeth this morning. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make your time and put that in your schedule. So that's really what I would say, and that's something that I'm doing every single day. So I'm here to do it with everybody who's ready to lose some weight. So that's kind of like where I'm coming with it. Like, and not a lot of larger people or people that you would consider fat don't really talk about losing weight, right? So I think that's a big thing, and I think that's real important that people start understanding, like, you can do it. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of people that you see that you're learning from right now, a lot of people that are your coaches or your fitness trainers, they came from being 250, right? They came from being large and they wanted to get themselves in order, right? So yeah, it's all, like I said, it's a process, and every day you got to be willing to do it. You got to be willing to put in that work.
Is it because they're hiding from themselves though? Like,
I think
cause I know,
so.
like when I have insecurities about certain stuff, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it until I finish my goal. That I can
Yeah.
talk about all I want. So maybe like I was saying, whatever. I personally think it's because they're trying to hide it, because they already know their insecurities and all that. So if they put it out in the open, it's gonna make people open up to tell them the truth
Right.
and all that. So, like, I definitely agree with people do need to open up with their insecurities. Like, for example, I'm a jackass, so I opened up to it and all
Right.
that. So now people are calling me jackass, but they don't. But basically, right at this moment, they don't expect anything less. So I can
You're
give them
right.
the
Right.
bare
Right.
minimum.
For sure.
Yeah. So that personally, that's like, so like you're saying though, like, we can hold ourselves accountable, even though people are gonna look at us like that. It's not like they wasn't looking at us like that in the first place, but it's gonna give
Yep.
us the feeling to be like, you know what? Now I'm free to have enough time to do it for myself instead of
Yeah.
people trying to push me into doing it.
Yep.
So yeah, so I mean, I rock with it though. But speaking of stress, right? The main problem that I did have with like diets and all this other crazy stuff is I used to work 3 jobs. I used to be a hoe, so I used to have to deal with a bunch of women I was cooking and all that. And I had to drive past like the McDonald's and the Five Guys, and I used to drive past all these places. I used to
Right.
smell this, ribs and all that, basically. So do you think society is like trying to force you to not be healthy because they're trying to allow you to stress over anything else?
Yes,
Crazy, ain't it?
exactly. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild, and it's low key diabolical because when you go to, excuse me, when you go to like a quote unquote hood or a underprivileged community, right? All you're gonna see is Burger Kings, McDonald's, dispensaries. If you're in Colorado, if some states still ain't legal, dispensaries and liquor stores, right? You're not
Facts.
gonna, and then might go up to the north side, or you might go up to the nice neighborhoods. You're gonna see what? You're gonna see a lot of businesses. You're gonna see a lot of. You're not gonna see too many, fast food joints, but you're gonna see a lot of grocery stores. You're gonna see a lot of Whole Foods. You might see some Sam's Club and some Costco's, but you don't see that in certain neighborhoods. So 100% is being pushed on us. And like another thing that we was talking about on one of the episodes when we were talking about health was you can look on McDonald's website, right? And they say that a Coke and a large fry is equal to the sodium and the protein that you're supposed to get when you wake up in the morning, when they say breakfast is the most important meal. So kids can go out in the morning, they can go get a sausage McMuffin, right? And that's supposed to be a healthy breakfast. So it's 100% pushed on us every single day. Another thing is when you talk about stress, like you said, you moving around, you 3 jobs, you outside with it, right? You're out, you're active, right? You don't have time to go home and cook some days, right? So of course you want to eat out, right? Some days you're running around and you're like, man, I'm on my way home. I'm not trying to cook tonight. Let me just grab something before I go in. All that is society pushing this this habit of eating bad, right? This habit of not understanding what food really does for you. And then you can even transition into, why would they do that? Well, because they want to push you to some type of medication, right? They need to
Facts.
push you to some type of medication. They need to push you to some type of Western medicine. And they need to push you to get some type of disease. It's just plain and simple. Like, they really want you to not know that if you just fast and eat the right foods and take the right herbs, you can heal your cancer. You can heal your diabetes. You can change your life. Even diabetes is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that our bodies are not they're insulin resistant, meaning that we need certain type of insulin, but when we're insulin dependent, right, and we take insulin every single day, that's also contributing to the disease that they call diabetes, right? So when we take certain type of medicines, it pushes us towards certain things. They're saying that right now, even drinking alcohol is one of the leading the leading causes in getting cancer, right? Smoking
Yeah, it's a
cigarettes.
carcinogen and all that, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like certain things that we get pushed on every to
You
those
freezing up.
medications, to those diseases. Why? Because they make money. They make money, right? If you go to like somewhere in like Puerto Rico, Jamaica, they don't have Adderall at every store. They don't have Advil and Dayquil and Nyquil at every single store. And in the United States, we're the only one of the only, I think it's United States and Canada, who are the only ones who are legally able to make commercials and sell pharmaceutical drugs. No, you can't do that anywhere else, right? So we got to start understanding what this thing is really about, and what we got to start doing, and how we got to start educating ourselves to know what really is in store for us if we keep going down these roads, and if we don't take the time to take a step back and really say, you know what, I might be stressed today, but my health is more important, right? You got to be able to take that step back, and you got to do it for you at the end of the day. Like, you can't really, like, just say, it's easier to go to McDonald's, right? You gotta be able to, take the time and put it into yourself and invest it into your personal health, because if you don't, you're gonna end up in a nursing home when you're 80 years old, and you're not gonna be able to walk. You might be hunchback, and you just you gotta be able to invest in yourself. And if you don't, I mean, you just going down the wrong path, right? And you gotta get it together. And it's 2026. We all gotta invest in ourselves and invest in each other, and make sure that everybody knows this information, because it really is vital. It's vital right now, especially today.
Facts.
For
Facts.
sure.
100%. And I'll tell you this though, when I used to live in the hood in New Jersey, I used to live in Patterson, New Jersey. There was this neighborhood that had four liquor stores, one on each corner.
Yeah.
And like I remember I took this whole journey because I had like a girlfriend. I told you I was a host, so I had a bunch of like resources to
Yeah.
get me out of the hood.
He said resources.
So I had this lady. She forced me to get a passport because she saw me fighting or whatever. She saw me like doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and she was saying like, "Yeah, hey yo, you got to get out of wherever you're at," and all that. And she was a motivational speaker. So she took me to Ireland. She took me to Japan. She took me to a bunch of places, and it kind of opened up my mind or whatever to a point where as soon as I came back home, within 3 or 4 months, as soon as I came back home, like everybody looked sick. But mind you, everybody was exactly the same, but I didn't see it until I left that environment. So the crazy part is, how do we know if people are stressed out if they don't know that stress is around them, if they've been normalized to that situation? Because I was stressed out too until I realized that there was a place outside of the hood.
Yeah, for sure.
So I personally think like holistic health or whatever would be a perfect start. Getting out of stress would be a perfect start, because I believe me being a vegan and then staying in stress is still gonna make me like sick. I think we have to like fast in all type of aspects. The environment, the stuff that you smell, the people that you talk to, whatever, the people that you're around. I think we have to fast within all that type of stuff and be healthy within all that type of stuff, basically.
Yeah.
So my question with you, I'm sorry.
No. I just want to add something in real quick. Another thing about it is your household. What's in your household, right? The products that you use in your everyday lifestyle is important too. Like you said, fasting in all aspects. What type of products are you using? What clothing are you wearing? What type of things are you putting in the air in your household, right? Those are extremely important too. Like in my household, I don't use bleach. I don't really use dish soap. I use vinegar, lemon, or lime, and I use baking soda, right? When I wash my clothes, I don't use Tide. I don't use that. I use baking soda, vinegar. When I clean my house, I use baking soda, vinegar, and lemon. When I make, a lot of people like to light incense, and I like incense too. But for the most part, I don't use Febreze. I don't use diffusers unless I'm making my own essential oils. So those type of things are extremely important too. Another thing is a water filter. You got to invest in a water filter. Thinking about the microplastics and everything that's in your water too. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. Here in Colorado, we got one of the if you go down to Cripple Creek, it's known for having brown water, and there's a lot of places out there. When we talk about Flint, Michigan, a lot of places out there, they don't even have good water. And that's extremely important when we talk about fasting as well. You gotta change your environment, like you said. Once you got out of that environment, you was like, oh yeah, this ain't it, this ain't right. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there too.
Facts. Because I was the only non-crackhead in that environment. So I think you like I could learn a lot from you though. Cause like basically I'm still using Tide. I still got Irish Spring not Irish Spring. I still got Old Spice out here. I still got Old Spice deodorant. I got all that stuff that's very generic and I know it's bad for me. So I'll talk about holistic health or whatever, and I go home to a bunch of lead and aluminum that I'm putting on my body.
For sure.
It's crazy.
Sure.
It's crazy.
And
so like
they gotta get you some way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about stress though. Like, do you consider yourself stressed now?
I think I'm stressed in a sense of wanting to do more, like wanting to be in 4 places at once, right? When you're young, like I just turned 23 as of 3 days ago. So I think my birthday was on Monday. So I just turned 23. Nice. But I think when you're young, and I hear a lot of people, with money say this, like work while you're in your 20s when you can handle stress, right? I don't want to be 50 years old handling this type of stress. But I feel like I'm in stress because, I put myself in situations where I just want to get to the bag. But like I said, I definitely had to take a step back, right? Go on a vacation or two, take a step back, take some days where I don't work, still working 2 jobs and still trying to run a business is stressful, right? It's stressful. But at the same time, if you know how to handle your stress, I feel like, I don't know. It's like stress is a complicated situation because it's like some people know how to handle stress and they're like, I could bounce back. But me personally, I handle stress just by not handling stress and just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and get overstimulated. So I think people should take a lesson from what I'm about to say and just understand that stress is something that is in your head and it's something that you can take a step back from, and always take a step back and always reevaluate your situation. I try to do that every week, right? Take a little day where I might go to the park and just read a book, right? Something simple as that, right? I might just go to the gym, walk on the treadmill for an hour and do nothing. Don't listen to any podcasts, don't listen to anything but music, or common music, right? Instead of getting my speaker and playing YouTube, I might go get my record player and put on the old record, right? Just take yourself away from the things that are stressing you out, right? Turn it off your phone, get off of social media for a couple hours, right? I just put a limit on my social media accounts, right? No more than an hour on each platform a day. So I think certain little things like that is gonna help you decompress, right? Because when we talk about stress, we talk about why are you usually stressed, right? Money is like probably the one of the biggest reasons why you're stressed, right? If you're talking about depression, if you're talking about trauma, things that you're going through in your personal life, right? That's going to stress you out, right? And you might feel overstimulated, but all of it is like you say, you got to fast from different things, right? So when I get stressed, I start fasting from things, right? I start rebooting myself, resetting myself, and I think that's what everybody can start doing. And I know, some people is moms, some people is fathers, some people got things that they can't really take a step back, right? But I think it's real important to make the time. Like I said, if you can't make the time, you're gonna blow up, and you're not gonna be able to focus. You're not gonna be able to be productive. So when you feel like you about to boil up, you're boiling up, or you might just be like, man, I'm tired of this shit today. Excuse my language, but you're like, I'm tired of this today. Take a step back. Take a step back. Always, reset, reboot. Right. That's my biggest thing, especially going on. When you see certain success, right, starting to see things coming in your way, you got a lot of things to do, right? You just got to stay ready. You just got to stay ready.
Thanks. I'll tell you this. I'm going to tell everybody this, all right? Don't stress yourself out over shit you cannot control because it may start controlling you. The problem with a lot of people that stress over certain stuff, they stress over other people's creation. They stress over the jobs that they have to go to. They stress over some relationship that's not working and all that. So you gotta put all the stuff that you created on pause to work on somebody else's shit. So the best part about you is you have your own business. You're hiring people. You're working on yourself basically. So if you are stressing out over certain stuff, there's certain stuff that you can stop as well. Me, I was stressing over my 2 fucking jobs. I was stressed over stealing, because I used to steal for my job too and all that. I was stressed from getting caught. So I was doing, so I mean,
I'm gonna get mine.
I accomplished it. They caught me for stealing popcorn, but I mean, fuck it, it is what it is. but outside of that though, you're on the right path because you're actually stressed over creating your own shit. A lot of people are stressed because they're stagnant and they don't know where to go, and they're comfortable with their stress. They just want to complain about it because they're used to complaints. They're used to growing up being negative. So they'll put themselves in the stress, whatever, because they're naturally stressed out. That's their lifestyle now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for actually having your own business at that young age and all that. Because picture when you do get older, what's gonna happen? You're gonna have 5 or 6, 7 businesses or whatever.
Right.
So that's how it is.
Ain't gonna get no easier.
Here's the scary part though. Now you're gonna stress over your 5 or 6 or 7 businesses. And how long can you take it?
Me, I mean, I like the bag. So I mean, and another thing is, and I don't want to get too deep in here, but I got a lot of faith in God, right? I got a lot of faith in God, so that's another reason why I don't stress. I could when I was in the trenches and not understanding how I was gonna get out, how I was gonna come up. I really was just God got me, and whatever. And another thing is, don't stress about what God don't have for you. And if you know that you're on the way up, or like you got something coming for you, you got some success coming your way, I don't stress about nothing, right? So I think is that's a big thing about it, is just understanding like what you know is going to happen, right? What you're speaking into existence, right? If you're speaking negativity into existence, what can you expect, right? You get what you give. But if you wake up every day and even if you're not feeling right, like even if you having a bad day, right? Everybody goes through things. Everybody has lost people. Everybody has everybody has things that might make them turn up, right? Everybody got triggers, right? But if you know what you're supposed to be doing, and like I was blessed at a young age to understand like where I was going in life early. Like I knew I was getting to the bag. I knew I was just gonna be that type of person, right? And I'm still growing into it, but I just know when I get 50, I'm gonna be there already, right? And whatever God has for me is just what God has for me, and what I can't handle, He wouldn't put on my plate. So that's simply just what gets me through every situation. So that's simply all I can say. And if you don't have faith in something, you'll fall for anything. So, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing with yourself, and you don't have faith in anything, even if you don't have faith in yourself, if you don't have faith in any type of religion, I'm not even religious, I'm just spiritual. I know there's something bigger than me. I know there's something that created me, because it just makes sense, right? It makes sense that there's a God, to me, in my eyes. So I just feel like if you know that, like, you're gonna be straight. Like, and if you have faith in yourself, if you have faith in something, right, then you can be there, you can get there. But if you don't, you're gonna find yourself getting attracted to the wrong things, plain and simple. Like, you're gonna find yourself in the wrong crowds. You're gonna find yourself 10 years from now mad at your life. When I used to work at Burger King, right? And 95% of them people was like, I was probably the youngest in there. I mean, you had kids working during the summer and that type of stuff, but most of them was like 50 years old, and they was just mad, right?
Oh,
And I
I
was
would
like,
be too.
yeah, right. Yeah, hello. But it's like, you look at them and you like, I'm not gonna do that. I can't do that. I'm not
Facts.
going to do that. So you got to learn from the people around you, right? And if you don't learn what to do, you need to learn what not to do. And that's just how I feel. And if you running around like a chicken with your head cut off, at some point you got to learn. And I don't judge, but at some point you gotta stand up and be like, man, I want something different. I want to get and you got to get, when you talk about entrepreneurship and owning a business, I own a business because I want to control my life. I want to be able to
Facts.
go take a trip to Jamaica tomorrow if I want to, right? So that's why I'm working right now. But when I get to a certain point in my life, I'm gonna be able to have peace. So that's why I'm doing it now. When I'm
Facts.
young, when I can move around the way I want to move around, when I got the freedom that I was blessed with, and when my head is straight, right? When my head is screwed on straight, and I'm able to do the things that I can do. So, I just think if you capitalize on the opportunities and the doors that open in front of you, I mean, you're gonna be straight. You're gonna be all right, and nothing is gonna get in your way, because you know what you come to do, right?
Facts. Facts. And you said that you've been born and privileged to like know where you were going in life.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh. So yeah, like so with me, I pretty much was raised the opposite. I was raised not to have faith in myself. I was raised to like just be homeless and like fight and do the
Yep.
dumbest stuff basically. So
Hmm.
like, hey, well, like, can you give me some? I know I'm older than you. I know I'm older than you and all that. But can you give me some advice to where I need to go to find God?
Yeah, and man, I'm glad that you said the way you was raised, because I was raised the same way. You feel me?
Mm,
Like, really, like, I was homeless. We were in a shelter. I grew up around drug dealers and drug users. That's all I was around, right? So
mm,
I know that it's hard to be able to find some type of religion. But I'll say, the way I found God was, and I never really read the Bible. I don't go to church. But the way I found God was, I started appreciating the little things when I walked outside, and I looked at the trees, or just appreciating the little things, the things that no man can give you, right? Like the right to walk in your own skin, the right to do what you want to do, be who you want to be. So I feel like I found God because I don't even feel like I found God. I feel like God found me. So I feel like that's another thing. But you got to find the God in you. And what is my interpretation of God is God is you. God is a part of you, right? So you got to understand, like, how do I put this, right? How do I put this? You got to understand who you are. And if you don't understand that, start looking at the little things. Start looking at the little things in your life. When somebody calls and says, how are you? And if nobody's calling you, who are you going to call and say, how are you going to give, right? So I feel like once you find the good in life, you'll find the God in life. And just like I said, man, just walk outside and take a walk. Leave your phone at the house. Wake up in the morning and see things differently, right? Look at the birds differently. Look at things that, like I said, things that God that man can't give you, right? And that's another thing that I think is important too when we talk about spiritualism, right? When you understand that there's something bigger than you, right? Another reason why I know how I found God is because who else like when I found out that the body heals itself, I knew that there was a God too. Like I just knew like damn, how does all this, how does all this happen? Somebody had to create this. And I know there's a difference between science and God. A lot of people say they believe in science, and they don't believe in, that God created the earth. But like I said, man, I think the way you find God is to find it in you, right? Look at yourself and see, like, man, like, like I'm that. So you got once you find yourself, you can find a higher power, essentially, right?
Facts. I do agree with that. So you're saying that if I understand who I am and what I'm trying to be in life, that's the source of God that you're going for.
Yeah, yeah. Because like
Interesting.
you living in your truth. You living in your truth, and you were put on here for a reason, right? I believe so. Like especially when you start walking in, like probably when you started the podcast, you were like, damn. At first, your first interviews, you was probably like, man, I'm kind of nervous. Even when I
Yeah.
hopped on this one, I was still like, damn, I'm kind of nervous. But now we get the flowing, so we like, damn, I was made for
Facts.
this shit, right? So certain things
Facts.
you like. Damn, like that's God right there. It's confirmation. So I
Facts.
wouldn't say like find God. Just I wouldn't say there's a way to find God, but I would say there's a way to confirm that there is a God. And you take things how you take it. So my interpretation might not be your interpretation, but I will say, when you appreciate certain things, you can appreciate that there was a reason why God made it to where your body can heal itself, and where there's a reason why there's things that He already put on this earth that man did not make, that have been around for thousands and thousands and probably hundreds and thousands of years, that still to this day can heal you. You can go outside and grow an apple tree and create your own food, right? So, I wouldn't say you could find God, but I would say you can confirm that you could confirm that there is a God, and you could walk with that in your everyday life.
That is wild, dude. I should have wrote that
So
down actually. So I need.
you gonna
So
run this
yeah,
back.
so yeah, I'm a running back basically, but like I do agree though because it took me a while because people were telling me that God is outside of me. I shouldn't look at myself as a God. So
That's
the
crazy.
more I started, yeah, so the more I started like trying to focus on somebody outside, I was allowing negative energy towards me because I wasn't
Mm,
thinking for myself anymore. I was
yeah.
waiting for something else to come help me. So I tell people this: the moment I started traveling, the moment I started being a hoe, that's the moment I realized that there is certain stuff outside of the people that's teaching you who God is. Like the people
Yeah.
that's outside, like you can learn certain stuff outside of your household. Don't get trapped inside of this
For
cult-like
sure.
behavior that
Right.
people are telling you, hey, look, you can't do this. You shouldn't believe in yourself. Oh, the
Hmm.
devil was this, the devil was that. First off, if I believe in God, I'm not going to talk about the devil. I'm not going to talk
Hmm.
anything bad about the devil. You know why? Because it's kind of like saying, hey, look, you're a good cook. That's what you were trained to do. You wanted
Right.
to cook.
Mm-hmm.
So if I talk about the devil doing bad stuff, that's what he was trained to do.
Yeah.
But in this environment, we're telling people that the devil is a liar, the devil is this. Of course, the dude is doing his job. So what are you talking about him for? All you're doing is manifesting the dude.
Yep.
But yet we're scared to talk about each other. We're still scared to like give each other kudos and confidence and all that.
Right.
If I give myself a compliment, I'm cocky, I'm arrogant. So that's gonna shut me down to a point where I say I can't say this. I can't say this because I want to be equal to everybody. And the problem with a lot of people today is we think that we're supposed to be equal, but we're not.
Whew.
So like so the thing is, you have something better than what I have. I have some stuff that's better than what you have.
Right.
Maybe we can work with each other. Maybe we can learn. Maybe I can learn how to cook from you. Maybe you can learn something from me. But I'm not gonna hate you because you're a better cook. The problem with people today is they put God outside of certain stuff to a point where they get offended when somebody else give themselves compliment, because we're supposed to give somebody outside of this world a compliment before we give each other one. So that's where we lose God. We start losing ourselves. So you're right about that.
Woo. So, yeah, you put that together for sure. That's crazy. It is like it's plain and simple. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. And another thing I wanna say is there's a reason why when you put certain things together, it makes certain things. There's a reason why when you put what is it? Purple equals blue plus green. I think I'm not sure, but there's a reason. I'm pretty sure, right? There's a reason why when you put purple in a certain, when you put blue with a certain color, it becomes purple, right? There's a reason why when you put hot chicken in a pan of grease, it cooks, right? There's a reason why certain things have strengths and certain things have other strengths, because everybody's supposed to work together, right? Everybody's supposed to build with each other and build off of each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if you want to talk about, if you don't want to compliment people, you don't want to bring people up, that just shows how you look. Like, that just reflects you, and that just reflects that you can't build off nothing other than negativity or anything. And another thing is, and I don't know about other communities, but I can speak for the Black community. We don't want to build nobody up. We want to be the one who said, I came up self-made, I did it by myself, nobody helped me do this, and I'm the king or queen of this castle, right? That doesn't really work, right? That doesn't really work. There's a reason why there's not a one-person sport other than tennis. And we like, even tennis, like, there's still a coach, there's still training, there's still people that are behind the scenes that help that one person go win that championship, right? But most other sports are team efforts, right? Because it takes a team to achieve something. I don't care. I mean, like, unless you're talking about your personal self, every other thing that you've done in life, somebody has helped you. Even when you were a baby, right? And you took your first steps, you did that by yourself, but you had to watch other people walk. You had to see other things. You had to be trained to be a certain way, right? Same thing when you're talking about a dog. When you are training your dog to go outside, you give them a treat, right? When they go outside, when they're young, you might potty train them. You might put them in a kennel. That's what we're programmed to do. But we're also programmed as humans. When you talk about human nature, right? We can talk about how the system has programmed us, but when we talk about human nature, it is human nature to need contact, to need to collaborate, to need to have other people around them, right? That's why when you see people go into solidary, I don't know how you say it, but when they go into like the hole in prison, right, it's proven that it messes up your mind, right? Because you're not supposed to be alone. You're not supposed to be deprived of sunlight. You're not supposed to. So when we talk about that, you have to understand that if you're not, building people up, right, you like, it's not gonna work. Like, you're gonna end up, like you said, it just broken. And that's where we start to see people not being able to love each other, right? Not, so much violence. That's where we see a lot of that stuff, because it's just people that simply don't have the confidence in themselves, and they don't have God. And when, like, they going out looking looking at elsewhere for God, right? When it's right inside of you. Um, and we are taught to worship a white man with blonde hair, right? When we know that's not the case. So that's another thing that kind of
Right.
pushes people away from it, because it's religion that pushes people away from trying to find God, right? Some people are just like, I don't believe in white Jesus, so they don't believe in God at all, right? So there's a lot of things that push people away from God. But it's like I said, it's all about your interpretation. Like if you think God is Jesus, and there's all these type of things when we talk about religion. My dad's a Muslim, and my mom's families are Christian, so there's a
Mhm.
lot of different things that I learned about religion. But it all taught me that that's just another way that people are divided, right? Just another way that people get
Right.
divided. So you just
Right.
gotta find what works for you. I know a lot of people, like, they go to prison and they become Muslim, right? My dad did that, right?
Mhm.
Few people that I know did that, right? So you find certain things, you go through certain things in life, and you find different religion, or you may find different spiritualists. Like you may think things different, you may think things through differently, right? When you get older. But it's all about what works for you, and what you really think about, right? And what you really, your culture is, to be honest. Like that's another thing that I think divides us, but it should bring us together at the end of the day, right? You have Mexicans, or you have Mexicans, but then you have Chicanos, you have people who are not even Mexicans, who are Puerto Rican, who are Dominican, right? Panamanian. You have all these different type of things. Then you have Black people that are from America. Then you got African Americans, right? You got so many different types of cultures, and so many different types of people from all different shades and all different colors, right? But all that should still bring us together based on human nature, right? But we get so taken away from religion, or are you a Democrat or a Republican, or
Facts.
all this bullshit, right? So all that
Racism.
really, yeah, racism,
All that
right? Are
crazy
you
stuff. Yeah.
all that, right? So all that comes back down to the man-made hate, and whatever we think is really relevant, when none of it's really relevant. And that's why we can't keep continuing forward the way that we're doing, right? The way that immigration has torn the whole United States apart, the way that the last administration tore the whole country apart, and the way that the current administration is tearing the whole country apart. It's all these different things that we allow to take away from the fact that we all are human beings at the end of the day, and everybody's public safety, and everybody's privacy, and everybody's feelings should be considered, and everybody's safety should be put into the equation. So I mean, all that really comes down to, like, what is your goals, what is your morals, for real. So I think that's
Right.
that's something that a lot of people don't understand, and it all comes down to, do you believe in God, and do you not, and do you stand on that, or do you not?
Okay, I gotta ask you. Like, I gotta ask you a dumb question. After I say this,
Yeah.
if you believe in God and you're telling somebody else that they shouldn't praise themselves, or you're hating on somebody that praise themselves or give themselves kudos for something that they accomplished, maybe you're worshiping the devil. Like the people that's
Mm,
actually saying that they believe in God or whatever, but still talk bad around the people that God made, that shows that you're not really worshiping the right person.
yeah.
But I do have to ask you a question because you're very, very intelligent. Who inspired you to do this type of stuff?
um A lot of people, actually, but I will say nobody that I know personally. But I would really say it was, like I said earlier, you either find out what to do or what not to do. So growing up, I
Mhm.
figured where not to go. Growing up around gangbangers and drug dealers and drug users, I knew what not to do. Not to say that I didn't engage in that lifestyle when I was a kid, because I was a kid, right? But the
Right.
things that taught me were the people that came before me. So, and I will say something that a lot of people can relate to is music inspired me to do this. Music definitely saved my mentality, right? So, growing up listening to Tupac, or when I would listen to, like, I know this might be controversial, but Jay Z. But when I used to listen to that type of stuff, you learn things, right? Um,
Mhm.
you learn about values, you learn about your history in certain cases. So I would say music definitely inspired me, but I think what I'll say inspired me is the hood. To be honest, the hood's everywhere. and seeing how our people grow up, how people in poverty grow up. And I had to make a change. I'm still trying to do it now, but I think that was my biggest motivator to like really get into, you know, finding all the information that would be, you know, detrimental, or the information that I could leverage to either change certain things or to make money. So I think that seeing uh, like my people, whether they're Mexican, whether they're black, whether they're white, I'm talking about people in the hood. When I see my people being deprived from certain information, right? Like I'm in credit. So when I see certain things like that, us deprived of certain information, us being, you know, put in a box, right? Because we're from the
Mm.
hood, or because we may be black, or because we may be Hispanic, because we're an immigrant, so all that type of shit, right? That's what made me like say, okay, this is not how things should be. And if I'm not going to be the one to make a change, nobody's going to do it. So that's kind of like my biggest motivator.
Mm.
But like I said, that and paired with the culture and the community and music, that's really what it was. Just really seeing like, damn, you know. And I'll say this, right. When I was 19, I think I might have been 18, right. And I got an older brother, right. We like a year and a half apart, right. But we're kind of
Mm.
like twins, right. That's my twin, right. Um, we got caught up with the laws, right. We caught a case, right, attempted murder. My brother, he
Mm.
took the case. He got 19 years in prison. Okay, that could have been me. Literally could have been me, right? Because my brother said, you know what, I'm gonna take the case, right? You know, there's certain like shit like that happens in the hood when you know you have to, you know, back against a wall, just like you know you living in that type of environment. The man got 19 years, right? So that really changed me, right? And I was like,
Mm.
if that don't make me change, what's going to what's gonna, you know, stop me from next week, you know, doing the same shit and getting 25
Mm.
years, right? So I think that was another thing, right? That was like something that changed my whole life. And I was really like right around the time I started my business, and I really started diving into entrepreneurship and really getting into like, you know, credit and reading books and that type of stuff, just education, for real, just education. And I think that I knew early on that that's what I was missing, you know. So I think I like you said, I like I said, I'm not gonna boast myself up, but you know, you got to have that confidence. I am very intelligent because I knew early on that things. This is not like this wasn't it. Like this is not how I'm supposed to live. I'm not supposed to be sitting in the classroom 8 hours a day. I'm not
Mm.
supposed to be, you know, I'm not supposed to be in schools where I'm not even taught about my community, right? Where I might, you know, I might learn about, you know, certain things with algebra. I might be learning about algebra. I might be learning about Shakespeare and all this type of stuff. But then I go home and I don't have nothing in my refrigerator, right? I go
Right.
home and I'm surrounded by a bunch of crackheads and a bunch of meth heads and a bunch of dumbass, like just stupid things, like things that like low vibration things, right? Things that'll pull you down, right? So yeah, I feel like that was my motivation. Like I was like, this is not for me. And thank God early on, I knew that it wasn't for me. I knew that this wasn't what I wanted to do. And that's where it all came from, and that's where it all started. Like I said, when my brother got locked up for that night for that case, and he got 19 years, that's when I really started to be like, get in the field with it. Like you don't got no choice other than to you know, to make it work. You know.
So that was basically the last straw you was on
Yeah,
after that situation happened.
for
Okay,
sure, for sure.
but you already had like that thought of like you had like a high level of intelligence, but you just wasn't like using it at that time.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't
That's
know I had it
basically
either. I didn't know. I mean, like I was always like an A plus student or whatever, but I didn't like. It was like not only did I feel like it was too easy, but I felt like it was just pointless. Like you don't. I mean, certain things, like don't get me wrong, like certain things I did take away, but you know, it wasn't the things, like it wasn't sitting in a book, like it wasn't in a book, it wasn't from a teacher. It was things like you know, when you got to partner up, you know, learning this type of communication skills, learning how to stand in a single file line, learning how to raise your hand when you go to the bathroom. That's the type of things that I learned from school. So that's when I was like, nah, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is not how we're supposed to be educated. This is not going to help me in the real world, right? And I knew people that dropped out. Like I knew people that nobody. I like. My brother, the one that's locked up right now, he was the first one in our family to graduate, and he graduated because the school that we was going to, they were about to close because nobody was graduating. So our principal literally sat with him and gave him all the answers. That's the only reason why I mean, not to say that he's not, educated or anything,
Right.
but that's how he graduated. He was the first one. My mom has 4 kids. I got an older sister than my brother, me, and my youngest sister. My youngest sister was the first one to actually graduate and go to graduation. So that was a big thing for us, right? So I seen what school does and how it really doesn't benefit you. So at least public school. I mean, I knew that college was a scam early on because I see people that go to college for 8 years and they get out and they're still broke, right? And then now I'm owing you for supposedly giving me education to go out and get a job, but I owe you and now I'm in debt with you and I can't even go get a job to pay the bills, right? So I just knew that early on that this thing that we call society was not for me, right? And I refused to be put in a box. So I just had to I really had to like find the information. And if I didn't find the information, I was just gonna be unhappy, and I wanted to choose myself, right? So I chose myself.
Facts. And I tell you this, I know like this lady I was messing with, like she's a lawyer right now. She have a PhD and all that, and she's still owe school, like her college, so she's still broke. She's still in debt, and like I know some lady right now. She's 26 years old, I think. But she got her PhD, not her PhD. She got a master's degree at age 24. She graduated high school at 16.
Wow.
And she's at UPS loading boxes.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is
real life.
No disrespect to her or whatever. Like she cool people and all that.
Right.
But all that time and all that money and this is what your job is.
Yep.
Because like the job field is hard to find where you like what you need to do and all that. So I definitely agree. This is why, like, I personally commend people that just go out there and work, as in, like, certain trades or do what you do or whatever. Like, find what you're creative at and start working on that instead of telling the system what you need to do.
Right, right.
That. So, like, I definitely commend you on that. And I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot what it was. So this is gonna get cut off. This is gonna get cut out. I was trying to prolong the hell out of that sentence, but yeah. So what's gonna be your future after what you're doing right now? What's gonna be the next thing you learn or look to learn?
I want to get into speaking. I want to get out on that stage. And I definitely I'm taking a step back. I'm about to jump back in my music and really just get creative. But really, the first thing that I got going on is I got my app coming out. So that's my biggest focus right now. So I got my app coming out, trying to take a step back and be able to create a system in my business. To be able to take a step back as a boss, right? You want to be able to take a step back. You want to be able to say, if I'm not here today, is my business going to run? So learning a lot of things about business is my goal all 2026. Grow my business and to learn everything that I can about how money works. And that's really my goal. Really just learning how money works and learning how to get it, and learning how to, bring it back and invest it into the right things and invest it into the community, into the prisons, into the education system, into the communities everywhere. Like, so that's really my goal, to really put something down, not only in my city, in my state, but put something down in the world to where people can come and learn, and they still are everyday people. They can come and learn and still, even if if you work 2 jobs and you quit and you dropped out when you was in 7th grade, you could still learn how to open a business, right? If you just got out of prison, you just did 15 years, you can still come and learn how to open a business. So that's my biggest goal. And really just getting back into my health. That's really what I want to learn. I want to get into really getting, I don't know, I might even go as far as getting my certification and going to school for it. But I really want to learn about holistic healing and fasting and being able to be an advocate in that space as well. So that's kind of my goal. I'm shooting for it, but you know, there's a lot of things in that. There's a lot of things packed in that. So I gotta figure out where my time is gonna go and what's really gonna be the most lucrative for me at this point.
Facts. Now, I might want to work with you with the financial advisor thing because I need to learn how to see. As old as I am, I do not know how to manage money. I just spend it. I make money and I spend it.
Right.
but that's the average black person, whatever. I think it's 6 hours where like we get money and then we give it back to the white community or something like that. It's within 6 to 5 hours and all that. But like I want to learn about like stocks and investments and all that because that's something that I'm totally ignorant of. But also I want to know about what type of music you do.
Oh shoot, I'm a rapper. I rap. I got. Man, I'm gonna let you know. I got an album coming out next month, so it's gonna be my first album. I ain't got too much music out right now, but I wanted to learn how to do it myself. So, I mean, I got a lot of stuff in the vault, but if I had to say what type of music I do, if you ever listen to a Currency, a Larry June, a Fendi P, that type of music, that's the kind of flow I'm on. But yeah, y'all gonna see I got some coming. I got some so stay tuned. I got some stuff for you. But yeah, it's real music, something that I think a lot of people haven't heard. Well, I think nobody's heard this because like I said, man, you gotta have that confidence. So I definitely feel like I'm the hottest rapper ever, for real. So,
okay.
You're gonna see what I'm saying. So
do you have any punchlines or bars you can give us now? No. You want to hold back on?
Yeah, I can't do it to you. I gotta stay exclusive, man. And but I will say, my name is K9, so K9 the Don. That's where kind of the K Capri comes from. So you're gonna see some crazy shit. Like it's gonna be real nice. And I'm gonna send you some sneak peeks. I'm gonna send you some sneak peeks when we get off the call. But yeah, man, I gotta keep it exclusive. And it's something that I've done since I was a kid. Sitting in class writing music. It's something that I really love. It's my first true love. I love money and I love business, but I really am trying to get into my music. I don't want to be too many different places at once, but the music is something that the music is just something that calls my name. Like I really can't get away from it. So it's something that I definitely I'm definitely got to dive back into. So I'm excited for it.
Okay. So before we go, now I'm getting kind of nervous. Can you rate these bars? Because I always wanted to be a rapper. I never was out. Like I just never came out. So I wrote a little bit, but I don't know how good it sounds.
Yeah.
This was like a while ago. This was way back when I was your age, like 20, 22, 21. So before I go, I have to do this. I'm gonna blank myself out because I don't like my facial expression. All right, so boom. All right. And I want you to be honest from 1 to 10. All right.
Set them up.
All right, look. Now I got this from the the Biggie Smalls, You're Dead Wrong beat. All right.
Oh shit. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Listen. To your block, you're a young Pac. Till it's raining gunshots when the sun drop. Mama's watching their sons drop. Blood drip on the street, just let it stream as the blood flow to the ground. Flowers grow from the concrete. A scar of roses for every mark on a soldier, for every violence and act of violence. Silence this moment for this beautiful tragedy, an aesthetic catastrophe, a miraculous massacre. Ever reacted what you asked for. Ask for every reaction needs a reaction. Every burden endured is another nail in your casket until your body's elastic, stretching out on this pavement, digging a deeper grave for you all on the devil payments. Now this is rebel enslavement. For when I die, God, give me a sign from heaven that's showing me that I made it as I look in the face of my grandmothers and others who love this and never judges by body, gender, or color. May I walk upon the covet of Robbie J while I'm covered by Mama Shula Hollow, shooting while they hollering hallelujah. That's why I pray that one day I can fill their shoes. For when I die, I'll be known for the beauty inside my roots.
When we get on the track, I'm gonna sing you some beats. Shit. Hell yeah. I can't lie. That's a 10 out of 10. Like that's real
Appreciate
shit. Yeah, which
I appreciate it.
yeah. We're gonna
Yo,
tap in. We're gonna tap
Yo,
in.
we gotta do it.
For sure.
No, we definitely do. We definitely do, though. All right. So I mean,
No, for real.
you're fun. You're fun. I rock with you, man. I'm gonna vibe with you more, yo. Hopefully one day
Yeah,
we
for
can
sure.
do
Yeah,
this
we
again
locked
or
in.
whatever.
Yeah, I appreciate
Facts,
you
yo.
for having me, man. This was a great conversation. I like the energy that you bring, and yeah, you definitely definitely is a vibe, and you know, we got to support. I definitely you say you was a fan of me, I was a fan of you, so I was like, man, I'm excited for this. We gonna make one for the books, and we gonna have to come back and do part 2 for sure.
Facts, and I'm a bigger fan right now. I'm definitely a bigger fan, so I'm gonna vibe with you a lot more. Like I got you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see. I'm definitely gonna see. I'm gonna hit you up as soon as I can. All right.
Oh, say no more. Say no more. I appreciate you.